All right. Our first question is from Thomas, and he is asking, are we in the end times?
Well, short question, long answer, but we're going to do it as efficiently as we can, right?
Amen.
There's no better verse to go to answer that question than probably Matthew 24. And those of you who've been regularly following us, you probably know we spend a lot of time, we keep coming back to Matthew 24. And like 2 weeks ago, we talked about one of the signs of the times of the last days will be lots of deceptions. There's at least 2 or 3 different types of deceptions mentioned in Matthew 24. For example, Matthew 24:11 talks about many false prophets shall arise and deceive many. And then the next verse says, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And I think that really sums up today, probably better than anything else, what we're seeing in the world around us, where so many people are just losing the love. And we're just seeing people attacking each other, people unfriending each other just over political views, and the love is just disappearing. That really is what's necessary to bring us close to one another and allow us to coexist. And the next verse that I really recommend taking a look at is Luke 17. It's sort of the sister verse to Matthew 24, where Jesus is talking about end times. And he says, as it was the same as happened in the days of Lot, people will be eating and drinking, and they'll be buying and selling, and they'll be planting and building. But on the day that Lot went out to Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. So what Jesus is saying, like even just before his coming, life is going to be going on just as we know it. So don't expect much to change. This is why that day comes like a thief, because everything seems so much just like it, the way it's always been. And then Matthew 2 Timothy 3, 1-8. Really recommend you check out that. This gets back to the same thing where there's a lot of warning about how there's going to be a lot of deceptions in the end, and people are going to be, arrogant, they're going to be ungrateful, unholy, unloving. But at the very end of this verse, Paul is telling us that people are always learning and never able to come to knowledge of the truth. And just think about now, and there's a verse like that in Daniel, where it says, knowledge shall greatly increase. And we know so much nowadays. We have so much knowledge. We could look up anything at Google. But look how much we're fighting over what is truth, right? What is real, what's not, what's fake news, what's not. And that really, again, sums up our issues for today. So there's a couple of verses. I got a couple more, but Tina, do you want to chime in? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
My thoughts, and whenever I think of end times, my mind always goes to prophecy. And so for me, prophetically, yeah, we're definitely in end times. And for me, it's like, do you want to look at the prophecy? I know we don't have time to do a total study on the book of Daniel and Revelation, but there's definitely some very clear prophecies in the book of Daniel, mainly in chapter 8. The 2300-day prophecy from verse 14. And if you look at verse 17, it says that this prophecy is for the end of time. And so anyways, when you think about, how do we know when that prophecy began and ended? The 2300 days, to sum it up it began in 550 or 457 BC and ended in 1844 AD. And it says that that's basically end times. We're living in the antitypical Day of Atonement. And so, and you read about it in Revelation 10, that this is for the time of the end. This is a little book of Daniel that was sealed up, and now it's no longer sealed. And in Daniel 12, it says that, that this prophecy that was sealed will no longer be sealed up. And so, from Revelation 10, we see that too. If you want to learn more about that, I would say go to our website and just get more in-depth detail rather than just trusting me. But yeah, definitely there's prophetic timelines that show we are for sure in end times.
Can I ask a couple things for a quick couple responses to this? how close are we to the end? Is this going to come tomorrow, or is this like, are there some things we need to see unfold yet before we are, before Jesus comes?
Yeah, and then that's a good question because it flows on what I was going to say based on what Tina said, where she's talking about time prophecies. And in Revelation 10, it does say like end of time, but as some people point out, it's probably saying the end of time prophecies. And there's no more time prophecies. So in a sense, some people talk about it's sort of like a football game where time has run out, and now you're sort of on that borrowed time where you just waited for someone to score.
Yeah. Exactly.
So what are a few of those things that still need to happen?
Well, I don't know, Jay, sorry, do you want to go first?
No, go ahead on that one.
I mean, when it comes to like where we're at in time prophecy, it kind of depends on the prophecy you're looking at. I mean, literally, if you go to, the 7 in Revelation, the 7 seals? No, the 7 seals, like, we're in the last seal. Then the thing with prophecy is it always repeats and enlarges. Like if you look at the book of Daniel, like Daniel 2 says, like, there's a statue and there's all these kingdoms, and then the rock, who is Jesus, hits it and becomes a mountain and it lives forever, which is, Christ's kingdom comes and destroys this earth. So, but then like in 7, you kind of see the same thing, but there's a little more detail. And then chapter 8, there's a little more detail. And chapter 9, there's, that just kind of gives you some timelines to work with, and more detail as well. So, and then chapter 11 is crazy in detail. Like it's so in depth. So that's kind of how prophecy works, is God gives you kind of an outline and then you kind of expand from there. So as far as things that need to happen, I mean, I don't believe yet that we've had the mark of the beast happen. So that's one major thing that needs to occur before Jesus Christ can come, is the mark of the beast will come about, and everybody in the world will have to decide. And honestly, the biggest thing too is Matthew 24:14, which says, "This gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." So basically, we have to have the gospel spread to the entire world. And sadly, that has not happened yet. But I do believe that that will be happening soon. And I do see it happening in the near future because, I mean, the way technology and everything's going, it's going to happen soon, I think.